Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hyperconscious Podcast. Alan, what is hyperconscious?
Once you understand why something is the way that it is, now you have the power to change it. Great conversations with great people and great questions are the keys to the kingdom of unlocking your consciousness.
Every single action that you do starts as a thought. When you control the way you think, you will control the way you act, and you will control the way you live. That is hyperconscious. Geographically. This is cool. So I would say make sure that pretty face is showing.
Yes, true.
They're going to want to see that thing. They're going to want to see that thing, Alan. That face. You good?
Ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of the Hyperconscious Podcast. Today we're going to hit you with another episode of Small Talks. This word was suggested to us by Mr. Alex Hinkle. It's one of Alan's favorite words. It is discipline.
So before we dive into the definition of discipline, I've got three different definitions here. First, Kevin and I wanted to talk to you about something very exciting. We finished the website.
Yes.
And so two things. One, the website, it's thehyperconsciouspodcast.com. So you can go there. You can get on our mailing list. We've got 3 videos per week that can come to your inbox. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, called the Hyperconscious Morning Minutes to kickstart your day. So there's a mailing list. There's also a members area with courses, articles, a forum, some behind-the-scenes work that Kevin and I do, different exercises to go a little bit deeper on the content you hear on this episode.
Yes.
And then also, Kevin wants to start setting up 20-minute calls to thank the listeners, raving fan listeners that love the show, and get to know them better so that we can help you guys even more.
Yeah, I understand that a lot of people are afraid to hop on the phone and talk about their deepest, darkest, and it doesn't even have to be that. It can be anything that you're experiencing, anything that's going on in your life. But the main thing is I want to get on the phone and thank you and let you know how much we appreciate you listening to us. This has been a huge thing for us, and we've learned so much, and I just want to help in any way I can. So if you just send me a message at NeverQuitKid on Instagram, we'll set up a 20-minute call, and we'll see if we can help you.
Yeah, and I had a few people reach out to me via DM as well, and I was helping them with some things. And I realized that a lot of our listeners were afraid to reach out to Kevin. So this is a fear-chasing moment. Again, if you do have any fear whatsoever to talk to Kevin, don't worry, he doesn't bite. He's the man, and he wants to help, and so do I. So reach out to him, DM him at NeverQuitKid, and let's get into discipline.
One quick thing before we start about being afraid and about fear-chasing. Going back to the website, my program, the Hyperconscious Mindset Program,
Yep.
I was terrified, guys, to record this, to sit in front of a camera for an hour and a half. It was a scary thing, but I am unbelievably glad I did it, and I cannot wait for you guys to see it. The things that scare us are the things that are holding us back. So if you're willing to step over that line, I guarantee you will thank yourself for it in the future.
And I just want to say, in Florida, when Kevin recorded his full course, the Naturally Fit for Life program is also going to be on the website, and I recorded it right after him. When I saw him hammer it in, I think it was an hour and 20 minutes all at one shot, and then he broke it up into modules after that, that gave me the courage to finally record my final product as well. And you'll get both of those if you become a Hyperconscious Nation member on the website. But now we're going to get into discipline.
Discipline!
Okay, so the first definition of discipline is training to act in accordance with rules, drill, military discipline. Number 2 is activity, exercise, or a regimen that develops or improves a skill. I think that's the most relevant one. And then the last one here is behavior in accordance with rules of conduct. Behavior and order maintained by training and control. So I think the first thing we should do, is define discipline for ourselves. So in my own consciousness, I always thought of discipline as something that you know you should do, that you know you want to do, but that you don't feel like doing necessarily.
I was going to say the same. You know you should do it.
Yep.
And I think in the outro to the previous episode with Jesse Elder, you said that a lot of times it can have a negative connotation. Like,
Yeah.
when you get in trouble, you get disciplined.
Yep.
But that's when it comes to discipline in this regard and what we're talking about. It's like getting up at 5:30 in the morning when you don't have to,
Yeah.
right? You choose to.
Yep.
Because you realize if you get up at 5:30, you're going to have an extra hour and a half or 2 hours or 2.5 hours on your day, and that's going to help facilitate the changes you want to see in your life. That's discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline is being on a diet and seeing a treat and saying, like, nobody would know if I ate this. Like,
Yeah.
my coach wouldn't know, but I am disciplined enough to know that I will not be the best version of myself. This isn't who I am. I'm not the person that cheats. I'm disciplined. I do the stuff that I say I'm going to do.
Discipline is the harder road, but the far more rewarding one. And one thing that I always go back to, remember that quote where I said, if you had a friend who broke as many promises to you as you've broken to yourself, how much would you value that friendship? Self-esteem, I believe, comes from consistent self-discipline. In other words, doing the little things that you know you should do that matter most for your long-term goals of betterment. And so I often say this, people are like, well, I just didn't love it. It's like the definition of loving something doesn't mean you always want to do it. It means you're always glad you did. And sometimes it takes discipline. Like you and I love the gym, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but it still takes discipline sometimes to get up early and get to the gym. Because I don't always want to go, but I am always glad that I did. So you want to find the things that you love most that are consistent with your goals and dreams, and then discipline yourself to be as consistent as you possibly can.
Well, it's one of those things where I'm sure you've had somebody reach out and say, like, how can I get up earlier? Like, what's the easiest way for me to get up early?
Yep.
And it's like,
pre-workout.
Well, for some people, but it sounds dumb, but it's like you just got to do it. You have to just. There is this moment where the machine says it's so comfortable.
Yep.
It's so warm. It's so warm.
Yep.
Nobody would know
You
if
can
you
just
slept.
stay.
Yeah. And it's the discipline of saying, like, I set my alarm for 4:40 for a reason. Because I want to be up and I want to be ready to go to the gym at 5:45. I want to have an hour to loosen up. I want to have 45 minutes to watch motivational videos in the morning. I want to make sure I can get a good nutritious breakfast before I leave for work. Like, you'll know that you're not following through in your disciplines when you regret it after. Like, I think you made a good point with that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, reverse engineering regret.
Yeah.
So there's only two pains in life. Jim Rohn says this. There's the pain of discipline today or the pain of regret tomorrow. And again, this is all predicated on something that you know in your heart you want to do. So for example, there's an A and a B side to everything. The A side is I want to do a fitness show. And everyone sees the people on stage and it's like, oh, that might be fun. That might be awesome. Like the winner. But do they see the B side of what it took to be the winner? Right? Like we just saw Tom Brady win his 6th Super Bowl. And people see that and they think to themselves like, wow, that must be incredible. But do they see the 5 a.m. wake-ups every day for, the 15 or 18 years he's been in the league? I don't know how many years he's been in the league.
18 or 19.
18 or 19. So it's like you cannot want the A side of something, which is, by the way, is what the whole world is marketing to you, the A side, without the flip side of that, which is like what comes with it. So in my speeches, I often say, here's me with the trophy, the most ripped I've ever been, with all my friends and family around me celebrating. But you cannot be this person who inspires others and leads by example unless you're this person. And then I flip to the next slide, and it's me, like almost in tears, sweating at 5 a.m. basically in the gym. I think you took that photo when I was doing the sled. Yep. And it's like you can't have both. You have to want both.
What about, so we used food as an example, waking up as an example. I think a good example of discipline is a relationship. Say you're fresh out of a relationship that you know you should be out of, it wasn't working, and you start to get lonely. And everything in you is saying, like, it wasn't that bad, though.
Right.
It'd be better to go back with her or him. That's when you have to have the discipline to know, like, no, I got out of this for a reason. Maybe they weren't treating me right, or maybe I realized I wasn't fully present.
Yeah.
There's that point of discipline where it's like I could text them and get them back.
Yep.
But I know what that would create in the long term.
Yeah.
So I think that's another thing. Discipline kind of sucks in the moment,
but it's better long term.
But it's better in the long term. And I know a lot of people aren't super focused on the long term. Like you and I are very focused on 5 years, 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
That's why we do a lot of the things that we do.
Which, by the way, is also why we appear to have such great discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But if you're listening to this, like discipline is getting out of the shower when you say you're going to get out of the shower. Like that's how you practice. For those who may not have heard the episode where I said this, or the several episodes where I said this, when I want to get out of the shower and I'm in there and it's just so warm, it's just nice, I literally count backwards down from 10, and by the time I get to 1, I have the water turned off and I'm getting out of the shower. Now, I have never once not done it. I've never once failed. Is that because I'm super incredible? No, it's because I've built that discipline into my life, and that's from the Mel Robbins getting out of bed.
Yeah, the 5-second rule.
5-second rule. So.
Which, by the way, she reached out recently as a dream guest.
Yes.
We took a photo saying, who would you want to be on the show? And thank you for so many of you reaching out saying who you'd want. We tagged Mel, and she actually just got back to us today. We're trying to set that up. I'm emailing her assistant.
Cannot wait.
She said her schedule's crazy. But one thing I wanted to say about discipline is, we're almost running out of time here. So a lot of people say, I just want to be happy. And I don't think you should do what makes you happy. I think you should do what makes you great. And here's why. Because what makes you great is going to make you not only happy, but also fulfilled, and it's going to help others. So if you're trying to do what just makes you happy, then you're most likely not thinking long term, because what makes you quote unquote happy is most likely easier stuff in the moment that doesn't require much self-discipline. Now, think about person A and person B. Person A wants to do what makes them happy. Person B wants to do what makes them great. Person B is going to embark on a far more challenging journey, therefore grow far more and be far more fulfilled. And since they've grown far more, they have more value to add to the world in whatever that unique version is for them.
I love it. I think discipline is one of those things that it might not look like it's paying off right away. So you have to be willing to invest the time, the effort, the energy into making sure that it's going to pay off in the long term. And it will if you do it long enough.
Yeah.
So that's our 10-minute or so rant on discipline. We're actually getting ready to record our Scratching the Surface episode after this.
Yes.
We are going to do it on settling.
Yeah, which is very congruent with the word discipline.
It's very congruent. There's a reason we're doing them together.
The last thing I want to say about discipline is this. All good things, I think, come through self-discipline. Going to bed early, waking up early, doing the things that you know will make a big difference in the long run. Good, positive habits. And picture a hard day's work, how good you feel after it. When you were really productive, you were really focused, and you didn't get distracted. Now picture a different day where you got distracted constantly, you chased shiny objects, and you were not making progress towards your most important things. That's lack of discipline. That doesn't feel good. Discipline does feel good. So start to associate pleasure with discipline, even though it might be painful in the moment. And that's discipline.
That is discipline, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed recording. It always goes by so fast.
Yes, it does.
And as I just said, our next episode that you'll be hearing after this will be on settling, why it's important that you don't do it. And we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for listening to another episode of the Hyper Conscious Podcast.
Going hyper-conscious will absolutely change your life, because if you understand why something is the way it is, now you have the power to change it. If you going hyper-conscious with us has changed your life in any way, please share this episode with one of your friends, because the more people that go hyper-conscious, the better this world's going to be for everybody.
And if you would kindly leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, that would help us make more people hyper-conscious, and we would be greatly appreciative.
Thank you.
Bye.